You're listening to Boomers Today with your host, Frank Sampson.
Well, welcome to Boomers Today. I'm Frank Sampson, and each week we bring you important, useful information on issues facing baby boomers, their parents, and other loved ones. We have another great show for you today, and we have great shows because of our wonderful guests. We have with us today Millie Abrams. Millie's worked in the senior living and telecommunications industry for over 20 years. Millie joined Brookdale Senior Living Corporate in March of 2015 and works closely with Brookdale's business development, marketing, cross-functional teams, executive leadership, and strategic partners to build strategies that optimize program experiences. Millie, I'm just thrilled to have you on Boomers Today. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks, Frank. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so, we've known each other a while, so I'm going to get that out there. We're friends. We work together in the industry, and you're just one of my favorite people in the industry. So I'm just thrilled to have you on the show, and we want to, I think there's just so much going on in what we call the silver tsunami, right? I mean, there's just so much happening today, and Brookdale is a very well-respected organization. They're actually the largest company in the United States providing assisted living and, other parts of senior living. So maybe first, give us a little overview about Brookdale as an organization.
Well, Frank, we are, like you said, the largest senior living organization in the United States, in, I believe, 47 states now, and 800 and some odd communities across those states. We have various different types of senior living. We have assisted living, we do independent living, we have memory care units, skilled nursing facilities, senior apartments, and we work with a lot of rehab companies and long-term acute care patients as well.
Right. So that gets me to my next question. There's, I guess there was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, all right, that somebody would either have to be taken care of at home, usually by a family member, or they'd go into nursing. Some people call it nursing homes, convalescent homes. They have all this old terminology that's sometimes still used. But like you mentioned, Brookdale has all the different facets: independent living, assisted, memory care, nursing. Do you mind just each category providing our listeners with just a little overview on each?
Sure, and let me add to what I just said. We also do home health care, private duty. We do hospice. Just about everything that any senior person would need, we do all of it and have areas and communities that cover all of those range of needs. Independent living is mainly when there are people who live by themselves and they have some medical problems and are not that comfortable living by themselves, but they can still take care of themselves and get themselves dressed, and, that they just would rather be near someone who can kind of watch out for them. They normally move into the independent living. They have an apartment there, and we provide, all their medication. There's dining services. There's hair salons, in some cases, golf putting, and all kinds of things that are in the community. So they feel better being in a place like this with other people around them and people of their age, or various ages, actually. So that's independent living. Assisted living is the next step, where they need some type of care. They're not able to monitor their medication on their own, or they need help bathing or dressing. So it's like a step up from independent living, where there's somebody there all the time to take care of them and whatever needs they may have.
And that's what we call activities of daily living, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And then we have memory care, which we have quite a few dementia memory care communities. And some of our communities are a combination of like assisted living and memory care, because quite regularly some people are in assisted living, and then as they get older, they transition and we have to move them to the memory care unit. So we have a lot of facilities that have both on campus. But our memory care is, of course, very different from our assisted living and independent living in that it's a secure facility. You have to be let in or have a pass or a code to get in. And even inside, for example, say there's one in Nashville that's 3-story. So, and there's patients on each level. So you have to have an elevator code to get up to any of those. You have to have an elevator code to get down, because we don't want the patients being able to get out and get down by themselves and wander off, because that happens.
Right.
But we provide them with all kinds of entertainment and programs and therapy, art, even games, videos. We bring entertainment in, all kinds of things depending on which kind of community it is. We even take them on little excursions and trips and stuff. Then we have skilled nursing facilities, of course, where it's another step up, and they're taken care of with skilled nursing. And of course, we get a lot of people that transition from the hospital to either skilled nursing or the hospital to assisted living. And that's kind of a gray area too. Not everybody understands that there are assisted living. There's places they could go other than to skilled nursing facilities, or go home and have to worry about who's going to take care of them.
Right.
And that covers long-term acute care. Like I said, we have hospice for those people who need hospice. We do private duty, home care, health care, pretty much everything.
Yeah. As you I've been in the industry for quite a while as well. And, things have changed even in the time that I've, been in it. It's becoming more gray as it relates to, should someone be in, let's say, assisted living or memory care, or do they need to go into nursing? Because I think there's this, I know there's this perception amongst the elderly that, all these various options you talked about, in their mind, it's all nursing. Though it's not.
Yes.
But in their mind, because that's what it was back even into the early 90s and before. Or
they think it's a nursing home, which is
right.
not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. So things have changed. And I would say that, nursing is really more today for, there's various types of nursing. It could be for, rehabilitation after surgery. And they may be there for a few weeks, and then they, end up going home, or maybe they move into some sort of assisted living. All right.
Mm-hmm. Or they're in assisted living and then have to go back to the hospital.
Exactly right. Right. So, I also there's, the people I think that live the rest of their lives in nursing is usually people whose medical conditions are so great that it's beyond what could be handled in assisted living. But a lot of people think that, well, boy, my father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, he's going to have to go into nursing. Well, that's not the case. He doesn't have to go into nursing. Maybe he'll still be appropriate for assisted living. Maybe he has to go into memory care from a, safety standpoint, like you said. In memory care, there's wandering
in different
issues.
levels of the memory care as well.
Exactly. Right. So that's great. Brookdale is so diverse. All right. So I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. Try to tell me a little bit what, in your opinion, Brookdale's maybe greatest strength. What do you think Brookdale's greatest strength is, in your opinion?
I think there's two or three things that I consider our strengths of ours, our big strengths of ours. One is our size, because we're national. We cover everywhere and everything, and we have access to anything we need to take care of our residents. Another strength are our people. They're actually one of the most important things in our company are our associates, and making sure we hire great people who have the caring attitude and want to make people feel better about themselves and feel better physically. So our associates and our caregivers. But I would say our scale of our size and our scale of anything that's needed, we can help take care of people. So I think that's our strength.
And so what are, there's just so much going on in the industry today, and that will continue for some time. I mean, I mentioned earlier the silver tsunami, and that big wave hasn't even hit yet. So what's kind of some of the plans that in store for Brookdale over the next year? Sure.
Right now we're going through some deliberate changes. We've changed our priorities. Well, let me back up a little bit, Frank. In the middle of 2014, we acquired another company. We've acquired many companies over the years, but we acquired a company that had 600 communities. Brookdale at the time had 600 communities, so we became the largest senior living company at that time, with 1,200 communities overnight.
That was called, the name of the company was called Emeritus.
It was,
right?
Emeritus.
Right.
So we had two systems, two payroll systems, two everything. And it was it was a bigger challenge than normal, because that was the largest acquisition we had made. So literally we doubled overnight, and just everything started speeding up, and we've got into more and more and more. Well, now we've decided, okay, we're going to stop and prioritize. We can't do everything and do it the best. So we have, you probably have noticed that we have transitioned or sold some of our communities. And we are going to be selling a few more. We'll end up in the 700 to 800 range, which still makes us the largest by far.
Right.
I think the next closest is 300 communities. But what we're doing is prioritizing and making sure that we take care of our associates. They have the training and support they need in the sales tools and the systems. So we're streamlining those things so that they don't have to go so many places, or they can put their hands on everything they need. They have the proper training, and as often as they need the training. So we're selling some of our communities, and it's various reasons. Some of them, we like to own our own real estate, so we are leasing a lot of space. So we've sold a lot of those or we've gotten out of a lot of those that we were leasing space. There are some areas that was not the areas that we wanted to be in, or maybe it was too saturated, or one thing or another, and we've let those go. So I don't think the number's around 200 or something so far that we have.
Right.
But we're going to settle this. It's very deliberate. It's not, something that happened to us. It's something we're doing. And so we're refocusing to make sure our employees are taken care of and our associates, and we have the right people, and to control turnover. I mean, every company has turnover, but when we had this, we acquired Emeritus, there was a lot that we initiated. Of course, we didn't need everybody in both companies, but we've been stabilizing and throughout that time, and So now we're doing these things to streamline and to focus and put a lot of focus around. And when I say fewer things, we're not going to get out of any of those areas. We still do all of that. We just want to do it. We want to be the best senior living company that's out there.
Right. Right. Well, I think it's
the most trusted.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's smart. I do. I think it's a good plan. And I know you mentioned, your employees and training. I want to come back to that in just a second, but we're just going to pause for a second and, mention that today's show is sponsored by Senior Care Authority, a senior placement and elder care consulting organization that has a national network of professionally trained and experienced local advisors to assist families in determining the right path for your loved ones. They'll discuss various long-term care options, whether it is in-home care, assisted living, memory care, nursing care, or if you just need an advocate to get some advice from, a local Senior Care Authority advisor can help you now. So for a free 30-minute consultation with an advisor in your area, contact Senior Care Authority at 888-809-1231, or you could go directly to the website at www.seniorcareauthority.com, and you could find an advisor right in your area. So we're back now with Millie Abrams from Brookdale Senior Living. Just a wealth of information. And, before we took that quick break, Millie, you were talking about, some of the positive changes going on at Brookdale and about the employees and training. And I'll tell you something, Brookdale has a wonderful reputation as it relates to the training program. I know a lot, of course, I've met a lot of the Brookdale associates through the years, and that's one thing they say, boy, Brookdale has a wonderful training program. And I know that's not your area, in the company, but I'm sure you've gone through their training. Can you tell us a little bit, about it? And are you training all your employees? Is it internal? Is it external? Maybe just give a little overview of it, of what you know. I know that's not your area, though.
Oh, that's okay. I actually have I have my at least one finger in everything.
Yeah, that's right. You do. You do.
And I'm actually helping produce some training right now, or a segment of training that goes into our sales training about our referral partners and their while we have referral partners and what they do and all of that. So actually I am involved in it right now. But we have a couple of different kinds of training. We do our own sales training. We have classes that run 4 weeks a month, 3 and 4 weeks a month, with classes of 20, 30, 40 people. We try to keep them smaller, and it's a week long. And then we have several tests we give them, but like fun tests, gaming type things, like here's multiple choice answers. After we go through so much of the training, we do things like that. And then we do shopping. We shop our communities. We shop each community at least once a year. We shop our salespeople at least twice. And we do competitive shopping as well. We also have, now for our internal corporate employees, we do have a company that helps us with our HIPAA training, and we have everybody has to take a certain amount of this, and it has to be done on a timely manner. You have 4 weeks to get these 3 courses, online type thing. So we do a variety of different things. But our sales, especially our sales training, is very focused, very detailed, and we go over it and make sure they can turn right around and repeat what they've learned. In areas, we do a lot of coaching. Our district sales directors do a lot of coaching and working with our employees, especially the new ones, throughout the year. So
great.
Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great overview. So I did want to zero in on something. And anytime I'm in one of your memory care locations, which is a kind of a separate location, and I meet your caregivers and people in that area. I always thank them. I just thank them for everything they do, because that's tough work.
It is, and they get really attached.
Yeah, and you got to have a lot of patience. You have to have a lot of patience in that area. So from a training perspective, is there additional training given to those people that are working in the memory care areas? Is there more training given to them?
Yeah, and a lot of it's medical, a degree of medical training, depends on their position. But we also do a lot of seminars and have them attend sometimes in-person seminars, but a lot of online type things on how to handle situations and how our residents feel in certain situations, and so that they can better react to those patients and know how to help them and make them more at ease. So yes, we do. We have so many different people in so many different areas, but we do have specific training and things that they go through, not just once a year or when they're hired, but throughout the year. We do refresher type things. So,
right. Yeah. Well, there's all sorts of new theories and ways to handle those situations, and so probably ongoing training is essential. That's for sure.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So I know that, when we were talking, just kind of going back to talking about the different types of senior living, we said independent, assisted, memory care, nursing. And just because nursing is a separate area, that doesn't mean that you don't have nurses on premise in your assisted living or memory care. And it might not be consistent throughout. But tell us about that. I mean, as far as, when would a Brookdale location maybe have actually a nurse on premise that works for Brookdale that may not be in a nursing facility, might be in your, right in your community.
Right.
Or even doctors. I know you have a lot of places that have visiting doctors. So talk to us about that a little bit.
Well, the assisted living, I believe we have nurses that are on site a certain number of hours a week. Like they go from one to the other. They have a certain number of communities that they support. When you get into assisted living, I believe there's pretty much nurses on site at all times, and the doctors, they call them rounding doctors. Mm-hmm. So they come and go, have specific time frames that they're when they're there, and appointments are scheduled, and so that they make sure they're available for anyone that needs. Of course, the skilled nursing, I believe there's doctors at all times and several nurses, many nurses available. So it varies depending on the level of care. And the same thing with the memory care. I believe the nurses are there on site at all times, and the rounding doctors come in, daily or every other day, or however is needed based on the residents we have. So we do what we need to do. We want to have more than needed versus not enough. So
right. So I want to make sure I don't forget to ask you this, but I'm sure some of our listeners are going to want to learn more about Brookdale. Where can they go to learn more about Brookdale as any particular community or the organization as a whole?
Yeah, well, there's several places. Of course, they can go to www.brookdaleseniorliving.com, and we have a vast amount of information there. But we also have many, many strategic partners that we work with, like Senior Care Authorities, one of our top partners. Right. That's why Frank and I have spent so much time together.
Right. Well, thank you for mentioning that.
You're welcome. We have many, like hundreds, and some of them specialize in some areas that others don't, so forth and so on. Some of them are local. They cover just a city or a state. Some are national. But we have all of these you can find if you put in senior living on the internet, or if you call one of Frank's, like Frank had said a while ago, if you call, he'll have an agent or a customer service person call you, and they'll walk through the steps. And this is basically how the partners work, is they have all the information you need, whether you don't know where to start, you don't know what you need, you don't know the different levels, you don't know where communities are. They will walk through all of that with you, and when we do narrow it down, you'll be assessed. So it's not like you have to figure out which one you're supposed to be in, or the level. We go through all of that, so you'll be very well taken care of. So basically, I mean, I could give you a whole list of partners, but you can pretty much, if you put in senior living and do a search, you'll get pretty much all of them.
Right.
I believe I've got like 525 right now.
Okay,
strategic partners.
Great. So, yeah, I mean, our type of service, and there's others that have some similar services as Senior Care Authority. It could be pretty confusing for people. So just trying to sort things out, because it's not like real estate, where people have either rented an apartment or owned a home and they do it several times throughout the course of their lifetime. This could be a one-time thing, and taking care of a family member, and then you're dealing with the care part of it, which can be, pretty daunting.
Yeah.
So
they could also, if they just go to one of our communities, if there's one in their area, they can go in, and our people can answer any question they have, whether it be about that type of community or another, or assisted living or memory care or whatever. Or we'll make sure we get the right people in front of you to answer all your questions.
Yeah. So we just probably maybe have a minute left here. So I'm going to ask you a question. I know that probably will take more than a minute, but you'll shorten it up a little bit. But just what we were talking about. If there's any family members out there who are listening and they're now thinking that maybe some additional care is going to be necessary for a loved one of theirs, what recommendations do you have for them as far as what's the next steps? And maybe you answered it before, but any recommendations for them?
We found that they have no idea how to start. So we've gone through, spent quite a bit of time and effort making sure that type of information is on our website, and that our partners are partners because they are good, and that they have the skills and share the right kind of information and help these seniors that don't know where to go or what to do. So like I said, you can go on our website and pretty much find anything you want, list of first, second, third things to do. You can call us. We have a 24-hour contact center that will also answer all of your questions. Call Frank. Call his. He's got he's got agents all across the country because they cover nationally as well. So we've tried to make sure that there's enough resources out there that anybody, we could help anybody determine what your next step is. It's a scary thing. Especially for the families, but we can walk through it with you and talk about everything from cost to if veterans, we have resources and services set up to help veterans, all kinds of things like that. That it doesn't cost them anything.
Great.
So whatever they need to be able to be taken care of.
Great. Millie Abrams, Brookdale Senior Living, thank you so much for joining us. And everybody, thank you for joining us. Just be safe out there, and we'll talk to you all soon.
You've been listening to Boomers Today with Frank Sampson. To learn more about today's show, visit Boomers Today.